So we obviously got the announcement that Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce, a fight that we all were looking forward to, at least I was anyway, is actually going to happen now. We knew it was going to happen behind closed doors because of everything that's going on. That kind of went without saying. But we all expected it to be on pay-per-view. Alright, I did. I think pretty much everyone did. We all expected it to be on pay-per-view because, well, it was originally touted as a pay-per-view. You know, before you know what came along, we were going to get this fight in April in the O2. BT Sport pay-per-view. It would have done okay on pay-per-view. It definitely would have sold the O2 because they had Yard versus Arters on the undercard, and they probably would have stuck some other guys on there as well, Liam Williams or someone like that. But this was originally a pay-per-view. Now it's not on pay-per-view, which is a good thing. You know, it's on standard BT Sports, so if you pay your subscription, you get to watch this fight, you know? No extra charge. That's a good deal. Alright, that is a good deal, and it's a good thing. Obviously, BT are forking up the money, because whilst I've no doubt that the two guys would have took a hit in the purse, no doubt, especially with no crowd, BT Sport obviously decided they want to get this fight on, and they're obviously going to try and give the fighters what they want in order to get this fight done, because realistically, what else do they have? They've not much else. So, you know, this, as I said, this is a good thing, right? Now let's look across the pond at Sky, right? Now Sky putting on good fights, right? They are. Right, they're putting on good fights. They're putting on fights that, you know, are helping to get boxing back up and running. You know, given everything that's gone on, you know, it's been a really, really bad year for boxing in terms of just the breaks and all that. Like, I mean, I think 2016 is probably the worst year I can remember as a boxing fan, because we had hardly any big fights that year. Like, realistically, when you look back retrospectively, but at least we had boxing consistently going. Whereas this year we've not, obviously. But Sky are putting on some decent fights. You know, I'm looking forward to Usyk Chisora. I'm looking forward to the rematch between Dillian Whyte and Alexander Povetkin. But people, they are rinsing the pay-per-view platform over there. They are putting Usyk versus Chisora on pay-per-view. Alright, now that was the original plan for May, the end of May of this year. That was the original plan to have that on pay-per-view. Alright, the plan originally for Sky was May 2nd, I believe, was the date where they wanted Dillian Whyte and Alexander Povetkin to have their first fight. Then they wanted at the end of that month to have Usyk versus Chisora, which would then lead and culminate in AJ versus Ppv'S, right? So they've just changed the fights around a bit, but, well, obviously we had Dillian Whyte Povetkin already, and we know what happened there. We're getting the rematch. So they're doing Usyk Chisora first on pay-per-view, then Dillian Whyte Povetkin the rematch on pay-per-view, then they're going to do AJ Ppv'S on pay-per-view, right? This is not the same as it was back then, back in February, start of March, when these fights were getting announced. It ain't the same, right? And when I say it ain't the same, I mean in terms of the economy. Oh man, that economy has gone to, you know, it's like an old porn star, you know, a porn star who hits 40. They just gone to the dogs, you know, unrecognizable, gone to the dogs. That's the best way you could describe it, you know. I mean, maybe that's a poor way of describing it, but that's a pretty accurate way of describing the economy now in October 2020. I think that's fairly accurate. Alright, for those who don't know. For those who are wondering, no, I don't watch any of that. I'm just using that as an analogy, right? For anyone who wonders. No, gee, don't do that, right? Don't do that. Right? Poor analogy, maybe. Maybe I should have used something different. Anyway, people don't have as much money. That goes without saying. You know? Look at this as well, for example. Fight TV, the online kind of crowd, they're showing Loma versus Teofimo. Fight I want to see. They are subscription based, and they're making you pay for that fight on top of the goddamn subscription you're already paying. Even when Box Nation were charging people 12 quid a month for obscure fights, they put Triple G versus Canelo on, the first fight, on pay-per-view. They didn't charge their regular subscribers. But of course, you know, I mean, money talks and BS walks. That's the way of looking at it. So obviously I'm looking forward to Loma Teofimo, but it'll be cracking to watch. You know, I think most people will know what that means. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the 3 pay-per-views in the UK. Look, am I going to buy all 3 of them? No, definitely not. Do I think Usyk Chisora is pay-per-view worthy? Not really, to be honest with you. But with regards to money that's being thrown around, and we're hearing rumours about Chisora getting some crazy money. I mean, God only knows how that happened. The guy has 9 losses. The guy is, Chisora is a somewhat of a name, but we're hearing that he's getting more than Usyk. I mean, that's crazy. And considering the guys would have took a hit in the purse because they were originally going to do that at the O2, it's going to be behind closed doors now. That's crazy. So you got Usyk Chisora. Look, I think we all kind of know the outcome of that fight, and I think that I was more excited about that fight when I knew it was in London with a crowd, because he could get Chisora fired up. I can't see him being fired up to fight behind closed doors. I can't see it. We got Dylan White Ppv'S. Now that one I am looking forward to a little bit more, just because I'm curious. It was a short turnaround. The fight, the way it went last time, the knockout, everything. That one I'm intrigued about, so I will buy that one. I'd like to know what the undercard is like. I think we're getting Babbage versus Little, which is meh. It is what it is. But I'd like to know what the undercard is like. But I probably will pay for that one. In terms of AJ Pulev, no. And I've paid for all of AJ's fights, but I just don't see that fight being competitive. I've done a video on that. I think that fight, I think we're going to see one of two things. We're going to see either a blowout from AJ, or we're going to see an absolute stinker. Alright, so if he boxes Pulev, that'd be a stinker. If he blows him out, this fight ain't lasting 2 rounds. Seriously. So I'm not paying for that. So we've 3 pay-per-views in reasonably quick succession. I think the date was the 12th of December for AJ Pulev. So essentially we could have it over the space of around about 6 weeks, 3 pay-per-views. Not including the fact that we don't know what the crack is with Kell Brook versus Terence Crawford, whether that's going to be standard Sky, whether it's going to be BT Sport pay-per-view, God only knows. But that one won't do great numbers over here because of the time difference, because Kell Brook, yeah, he's somewhat of a name, but he's not as big a name as the other 3 guys. Seriously, and they're all heavyweights. Heavyweights do a little bit better than the other weight divisions, for the most part anyway. Depends on the fight, I suppose. So I can see one of those pay-per-views flopping. And the reason I'm saying it as well is because, as I said earlier in the video, it's not the same as it was in February or March of this year. People don't have as much disposable income. I don't. I talked about it in my video the other day where I said, look, I don't mind giving the guys like D or Mark a super chat. But even I look at that and think, can I seriously spare it? With regards to everything else. And I can. I'm lucky. I work. I was going to say work hard for the money, but you can argue that. But I definitely work for it, and I don't mind giving someone like D a super chat, because he does good stuff. Speaking of my sports, shout out to him. I don't mind giving someone like him the super chat because he deserves it. But when I look at other little expenses that I have, I'm just thinking, do I need that? Do I really? That's the way it's been. That's the way it is for a lot of people. So I look at these pay-per-views. Before I would just buy them, sometimes I wouldn't, if they really were obscure. But for the most part, I would just pay for them. I just take the hit and I just pay for the pay-per-view. Like I said, I paid for White Ppv'S in the first fight. Really, I was going to say actually as well, Eddie Hearn is an all-female card coming up in November. If he wants to get more numbers on pay-per-views, he's Katie Taylor fighting on that. He should stick Katie Taylor on one of those pay-per-views. I know I was kind of contradicting myself because I was telling Big Dan, a subscriber of mine, that look, yeah, better they have their own card than take lots on pay-per-views. But Katie Taylor will get a lot of buys from the Irish audience. They love her over here. So they probably do good numbers with that. They get a few more buys anyway. So maybe that will be something he should look at doing, but he's already announced the card, so that's gone out the window. They're going to flop. And those pay-per-views are going to flop. People just don't have the money to go and fork out potentially £60, and for us €75, give or take. People don't have the money to fork that kind of stuff out. Especially the way things are going. And God only knows, Jesus, God only knows what's coming next, So people just don't have that. So when I see a fight like Dubois versus Joyce being put on standard BT Sport, I'm happy. I'm happy they're doing that, because we need more. We need that. We need good fights like that being on standard. We don't need all these pay-per-views. Once upon a time, and even then, it wasn't ideal, but once upon a time, put them on pay-per-view. Put big fights on pay-per-view. Fine. Give us a good undercard. Fine. You want to put on pay-per-view, go for it. That was when everything was a little bit more relaxed than it is today. Today it's just like God only knows what's going on with everything. With people, like the economy and stuff like that. So you know, those are my thoughts on this. I would be interested to know if and how many you guys are going to buy with those pay-per-views. Are you going to be, watching cracking fights, the 3 fights, or are you going to be, just going out and just paying for all of them? All right, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Bit of kind of an out there video, bit just kind of long, and I think I dragged it out a bit too much, but look, it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, of course, if you are new. As always, people, I'll talk to you. Peace.